All right, welcome back to another episode. I think this is episode 5. I think it is.
I believe you're right.
Three Shields production from the front line. We have a super special guest today.
Wow.
A dear friend of mine's been friends. We've been friends for a long time back when he was on the dark side.
Yeah, it's true. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So today we have the PIO for the York County Sheriff's Office, Trent Faris.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Trent, me and Mike welcome you to the show.
Yeah, Chris was my friend before I was with the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I accidentally, it's kind of like when you feed a stray animal. They just keep coming back. Well, I spoke to him one day in the lobby of the sheriff's office, and every time I walked past him then, we had to talk. So
I was a poor street urchin begging for food. Please, sir, can you just give me some information?
No.
Yeah.
And that's how it went.
Yeah. Trent, kind of give us your background and tell us how you started out and how you ended up at the sheriff's office.
I will say this. I tell everybody this story. It's that everything I've done in my life has led me to my role here. I grew up here in Rock Hill, went to Rock Hill High School. Wasn't the greatest student in the world, so after high school, I would join the Navy and went straight into the Navy. And when I asked the Navy, hey, Navy, I would like to be stationed on the East Coast, they said, no problem. And they stationed me on the East Coast of Japan. So an 18-year-old on the in Japan, I grew up quick, and doing that, I learned that when I got back out, was planning on going to college, and all my friends were like, "Hey man, let's go out, let's do this," and I was like, "Man, I was in the Navy for the last 3 years. This is JV league." So I mean, I focused on school, but. When I got out of the Navy, I was sitting in my car in Columbia. I was going to Midlands Tech that first year. I was got out of the Navy, and I was just sitting there, and I was just frustrated. I could not figure out what I wanted to do, and I thought I was going to be a teacher or something like that. And I was sitting in my truck, and I was just sitting there like, what am I going to do? And I was just happened to be sitting there for class, and John Boy and Billy were on the radio, and they were laughing at something, and they were having a good old time, and I thought, that's what I want to do. I wanted to be, on the radio. So I started, a path to become a John Boy, so to speak. Well, I didn't know how hard it is to become or to get your foot into the radio business. And so I did. I went to Winthrop University, came home, went to Winthrop University, studied mass communication, and tried everywhere. I sent out radio resumes from here to Kingdom Come to try to get into the radio business. It just didn't work. I had 2 part-time jobs. I worked at WBT Radio and WBTV working cameras. And then one day they said, hey, we're getting these robots. And so I lost one of those part-time jobs. So I was part-time at WBT Radio, and I needed a full-time job. So I went to go sell advertising at KISS 95.1. After that, I was like, man, this just sucks. I can't sell anything. I'm not a Chris Blevins. I can't sell anything. And so luckily a friend of mine, Lucas McFadden, actually over at CN2 was there, and a guy named Robert Wilder was working at CN2, and they said, hey, we need a CN2, and they're going to hire a sports reporter and a daytime photographer do news in it. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I was like, man, I've always wanted to do sports. So I get to go all the games. This is going to be great. So I learned really quick I was not in the business to be a sports reporter, and because I'm a sports fan, not a reporter, because football game's great, basketball game's great. You go to a baseball game where it's a pitcher's duel and you have to sit there and wait to get some highlights. It's just mind numbing. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. So, but I still worked at CN2 for about a year and a half. Went to WBTV as the overnight photographer / reporter. So I worked from midnight to 8 a.m. and I was out there just running and gunning chasing everything what I report on now, all the death, blood, and guts of Charlotte, North Carolina. And after I did that for a couple of years, they realized I was about to crack because I had a young daughter at home, and I was working overnight, going home, staying up, getting maybe 3 hours of sleep because I had to keep her until my wife got home. We'd switch gears. I'd get like 3 hours of sleep, go back in at midnight, and do it all over again. So Eventually, they said, okay, go to the daytime. And then I did all the reporting for the anchors in special projects. It's basically I wrote, filmed, and edited all the videos for the anchors. And that was just not what I wanted to do. And then they said, hey, we need somebody down in South Carolina. And so, yeah, cool. Am I going to get any more money to be a reporter? So they were like, no, but we need a reporter for South Carolina. So I went down to South Carolina. I became the South Carolina Bureau reporter for the CBS affiliate, WBTV. And like we were talking earlier, that's where I met Chris Blevins. I was the little street urchin going in the sheriff's office every Tuesday and Thursday to check reports and try to find some news for the day. And by doing that, I was able to build relationships with certain people. And the Sheriff Brian at the time, Major Robbie Hudgens, just random people. And then it was February of 2012. There was an incident, and then the former person who they had doing the PIO stuff left. And so one day somebody called me. His name happened to be Bruce Bryant, and I'll never forget it. He said, hey, Trent, how about coming to be my PIO? And it was a no-brainer because up until that point, I'll tell anybody this story, how I was there one day, and there were some other incidents coming up, prior to this one, but the final straw with working in TV news was, I had young daughters. And one of those daughters I wanted to take to the daddy-daughter dance. And so I told my bosses, hey, look, I'm going to work. I'm not going to, quote unquote, eat lunch today. And I'm going to go and, I'd like to take my daughter to the daddy-daughter dance. I want to go take her out to eat, and the dance is at 7. Could you not put me in the 6 o'clock show so we can go out to eat? And they're like, yeah, no problem. Guess what they did that day?
Put you in the 6 o'clock show.
Daggone straight. And I went home that night. I still got to take her to the daddy-daughter dance. We didn't get to do the prom night thing, but I went to my wife that night, and I said, hey, babe, I don't care what it is, but whatever happens to fall into my lap, I'm going to take it. I'm just done with this. And like a month later, that's like when I got the call from Bruce. Sheriff Bryant called me up, and I was like, yes, sir. And so that's how I got to where I am today. And I know it is a calling from God that I am not fit to do anything else in my life other than this. So there you go. That's the long story of long story of me.
And we thank everybody for joining in and watching it. But Trent took up all of our time.
Yep, it's been a pleasure having you guys on the.
Please share, like, and.
Sorry, guys.
We're about 10 minutes into the negative side of it.
Yeah, the producer only lets us film for so long. So.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Right. So you say PIO, Chris. You said PIO. When I said at home before I left to my son PIO, he said, "What is it? What is a PIO?"
The Public Information Officer.
Okay,
that is the person who, if you want to, say, well, okay, cool. That's what my job. My role is to get the right information to the right people, the citizens of York County, at exactly the right time, so they can make right and informed decisions about their personal safety. I am not the guy who talks to the media. I'm not the guy who just plays on Facebook all day. My sole role is to do what I need to do to get people the right information so they can make right and informed decisions about their safety.
Yeah. And that's very important because, a lot of times, back in the day, law enforcement would only give just a little bit of information out because, they didn't want it to interfere with the case that they were working or anything. So it's good that they have you now where you can get the information out there that they need to hear. Mm-hmm. So like you said, they can, better for them, better for the families and so on.
And there's so many different avenues now. Back, 30 years ago, it was just newspapers, television, radio. Now we have newspapers, television, radio. Some of those are not as predominant anymore. And now we have the world of digital media, social media, podcasts, YouTube, that kind of stuff. So there's so many other avenues. Our website, we can send out direct, blasts to people who sign up for that. Phones, everybody's got one of these in their hands nowadays. And so that is where we try to communicate to people where they have it, where they're at, and that's where they have it right in their hands.
Yeah. So Trent, saying that, How many people do you have working with you in the PIO office?
As the public information officer, one. I do have what he likes to call himself as the assistant to the PIO. His name's Sergeant Jonathan Gilbert. Love him to death. But he is also our community engagement coordinator officer, and he has his own role of things. So when I go on vacation or go out for training or something like that, and he'll handle all the day-to-day media calls if there's any need of it. But he doesn't handle any of the social media. He can post things. He does post things like he did when I was out at training last week. And so I have him, but I don't have a staff of anybody, if that's what you mean. And agencies our size around South Carolina and North Carolina typically have 2 to 3 people that are in the PIO office.
Well, that's the reason I was asking, because, something goes down, let's say District 1, and then something goes down District 3, you've got to get all that information out in a sufficient amount of time to be able to make it effective to the community.
Yeah, and it is a battle with time, and I don't know when this is going to air, but, today we saw the school shooting in Georgia, right? When I got to seeing that on the news, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to their website. I'm going to go to their Facebook page. I'm going to go to their X page, because that's how we would effectively communicate with people during a tragedy like that. It's the quick stuff through our website, through Facebook, Twitter, and try to get that information. And I don't know I couldn't find anything. I mean, their school district down there was communicating, but you won't see that kind of lack of communication from the York County Sheriff's Office. Or something
That's one thing I have noticed since you came along and took over that thing. I'm not big on Facebook, but Tracy is. And so she sees a lot of the stuff that you post, and honestly, we find out stuff quicker through your communication with us than a lot of other things. So I think that's amazing what you're doing.
And the struggle we have is the rumor mill. Yeah. And if whomever's listening, please don't believe what Joe and Jane Neighbor are telling you on Facebook, because usually it's not right. Because you can go – I mean, I could go an example after an example, but the first thing that as far as a school shooting or an active assailant situation, usually the first thing you hear is probably not right. And make sure you're getting your sources verified. Like today, I watched this news network that shows everything that happens, like any kind of breaking news. Like my man Grady Judd down in Florida, he is so popular that if he has a news conference, they break into a Grady Judd news conference just because he's the entertainment value, and they know they're going to get something out of it. But you just have to. I don't know. We have to just be cognizant of where you're getting your news from, because when you get it from us, it's vetted. I know what's going on, but I go to somebody and say, hey, is this right? Just make sure I'm right. And we're going to have the right information so we don't have any rumor mills. But that anchor this morning for that school shooting was just like, oh, I've been covering this for 9 years from this chair, and I could read body language, and that's what I could tell that person right there is doing this and that, just from a helicopter body language. Yeah. He was assuming and creating information just because of his experience from sitting in an anchoring chair from probably thousands of miles away from the actual event. So he was just it's all speculation until you actually hear from the source, and the source is the people who were involved.
Yeah. Well, in saying that, do y'all have anywhere that the community can come? Basically, a lot of them don't want to bother a deputy or anything, but they have simple questions, and they're just looking for simple answers. Do y'all have a platform where they can ask a question and, get an answer back?
See, I'm a one man show.
I understand.
But anybody asks a question, they can email. If you want to email us on our website, it's you just go to the website, click email, and you can find whomever you want to talk to, and click on there and ask whatever kind of question. You can message us on our Facebook page, but because I'm a one man operation, I will miss it.
I understand that.
I guarantee it. I promise. It's not that I've ignored your message on Facebook. It's just there's so many, and so I try to get to the ones. It's almost like triage in a hospital. Like, who do I need to get to first?
I tell you what we can do is we can have, whenever this airs, we'll have G just put your personal cell phone number right there at the bottom. No?
Please don't.
It's not G. It's
I will
the
give
producer.
you my office telephone number just fine, but please don't. This device right here in my hands is on me all the time, and it is.
I'm kidding.
In the middle of the night, I am on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless I tell I'm sick, and I say you don't want a guy who's sick talking to somebody on the phone right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's
so
the
we won't
world.
put your phone number.
Please
up
don't.
there, but
You can put my work work desk off number on there, please.
Yeah. No. So
I get enough calls on this thing as it is.
So on the daily, what kind of stuff are you dealing with just regularly? Like, what's a regular day for you?
I usually get in about between 7 and 7:30, especially now during football season. I am a volunteer football coach on the side, and so I try to get in early enough so I can make practice in the afternoon. So I get between 7 and 7:30. I drink a lot of coffee, and I get hemmed up on caffeine. We'll just start. That's where I start, and then I check you probably remember the dailies that they would send out. I read all the dailies. I post our daily activity log on our website, and then I start, like I said, triaging the day. What do I need to focus on today? Do I need to work on what's happening today, or do I need to focus on something that's happening next week, like National Whatever Day? Today, for instance, I did all that stuff, and then we had these scams are just, and the police impersonation scams. That's what I focused on today. And Alex Clark, Lieutenant Alex Clark, I called him today. I said, man, I have done everything. I've done everything trying to educate people about falling for these, police impersonation scams. And I said, man, I just need to get one guy. We need to catch just one of them and make a message out of him that we're coming to get all the rest of you. But those scams are just hard to track down.
So since you're bringing that up, I think all of us are fairly similar in age, so we're not necessarily dealing with it, but our parents. So what are some things that you're finding that are good for us to kind of help help educate, like our parents or other folks that are kind of getting up in age a little bit that are maybe struggling with falling for some of these things?
Our older population aren't as tech savvy as and the younger generation are. There's a gentleman that goes to my church, still has a flip phone. It's like, wow, let me see that thing. It should be in a museum. That's awesome.
You probably never lose a signal, though.
Probably not.
And it's funny, we had that missing man the missing person a couple weeks ago, and we emergency management and I worked on a message to send out, through like the code red alert. Yeah. So it's the EAS message. Yeah. And we had to write it two different ways. One was a 90-character text message for all the flip phones, and then 270 characters for everybody who's got a smartphone. So we had to write it two different ways, and it's just trying to cram all the information into 90 characters. That can include spaces into a thing. But technology is the thing where right now we just need everybody who knows that these are scams to go out and tell people, like their elderly loved ones, their moms, their dads, their grandmas, their grandpas, anybody who may just not keep up with things, don't watch news, aren't on Facebook, say, there's these scams going on. If you get a call from the sheriff's office, Rock Hill Police Department, any police department saying that you have a warrant for your arrest, don't believe it. Really, just hang up on them. That's the easiest thing to do. Today, this guy went and made up a fake warrant.
Wow.
And you would have laughed at it. It looked like, said the District Court of the United States in the South Carolina District, and it was like also, they had these fake charges on there,
How did y'all get that?
A lady who was
he sent it
to her, got her information and screenshotted it, or just sent her a text with it, and it freaked her out a little bit. Actually, we're going to do a series on people who have been called by these scammers, and try to educate people that way. They're tired of hearing from me. They're tired of hearing from deputies. They're tired of the funny videos we do. I said, we just got to get real people to tell real people that we're having scams.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's part of what I do is public awareness of things that are going on. Back when you were there, it was car break-ins.
Yeah.
We had car break-ins every freaking night. It seemed like up in Fort Mill,
Lake
still
Wiley.
do, but not to the extent that we used to. But whatever the hit of the week is, we focus on public safety awareness, on trying to get people to do that. And I also run the blood drive at the sheriff's office. I do the coordinator for the Citizens Academy now. I put that together, and that's coming up in November. So if you want to sign up for that, the application process for that will be coming up. So I do a myriad of jobs, and as well as running, doing all the media calls and talk to Tina Terry every day and Andrew Dice every day, and so it just is a shuffle of different things I do during the day. But you ask Joe Deputy at the sheriff's office, say, "Oh, you just play on Facebook all day." I was like, "All right, you believe that? Cool."
Well, this is your time to shine right here.
That's right.
Well, that's why I come in here. I mean, you always the PIOs always take the opportunity, whether it's on Channel 9, Channel 3, or Chris Blevins' podcast, to come in and talk about what, you use this as a platform to send out messages. We just talked about scams. We're telling people not to fall for scams, and then also about the sheriff's office. So I take every opportunity, no matter how big or small.
Yeah, well, we spoke on this in our first episode. Me and Mike were doing something like this during the campaign, and once that was over, we all three got to talking. Me, Mike, and the producer. We got to talking, and we was like, we can continue to do this and bring a positive light to public safety.
Yeah.
From fire to EMS to police, because a lot of people I feel, and they do too, a lot of people just don't understand how much work really goes into public safety.
Man. I didn't know until I got into it.
You see the cars going up and down the road, the trucks going up and down the road, and stuff like that, and like we had the director of EMS in here from Piedmont the other day, or the last episode, and you see the trucks sitting in parking lots, and you're like, you ride by, and some citizens are like, look at that, just wasting gas, whatever. So we had him explain what that was about, because that is a good program.
Oh, yeah.
And they put a lot of work in there to be able to move those trucks in high volume call areas just for public safety.
Yeah.
To get that truck closer to a possible medical call that's going to come in. So me and Mike and the producer, as we call him, we don't really mention his name too much, but the producer over there, we just wanted to bring a positive light to public safety. So that's why we continue to do this.
Man, that's great too, because no matter what we have, we could say we just rescued a bag of cats from drowning in the Catawba River, and doing something, and there's always going to be somebody that says, be a naysayer, a negative Nancy, or just a Debbie Downer about it, and that we like to call them trolls in the social media world.
And old keyboard warriors.
Ooh, let me tell you, we got a couple of them. I'm not going to name by name, but you're on a wall of fame. I can say that because you. But I always tell people, I said, let them scream into the wind. They'll go hoarse far sooner than you will. And I just let them scream.
Yeah.
Let them scream. They need an outlet, and you're giving it to them, and they're increasing your engagement numbers on your social media.
Yeah.
So, as far you said you're involved in the PIO stuff, but you also in your personal life still have a heart for the Bearcats. I
do. I mean,
tell us a little bit about that and what you're doing with those young men that you're instilling.
I like to call myself a volunteer, part-time, special teams coordinator, football coach.
Well, if anybody, now see he's gone too far. If anybody's watched his video when he said kicking specialist, go back, watch the video, and then make your own decision on that one.
What, the one I put up yesterday?
Yeah, it didn't go very far, Trent.
No, that was a 38-yard field goal.
It showed that it went maybe 5 yards.
Oh, you talking about the punt? The punt, yeah. The punt only went 5 yards. Into the wind. Sometimes you just have to have fun with those guys, and so yeah.
You call it what you want to call it, Trent.
So that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call it a botched punt.
I was holding my phone and punting the football at the same time. That's pretty good.
The field goal attempt was pretty good. I give him credit on that, but the botched punt.
I don't know. I heard Beamer called him and offered him a job.
Hey, Tigers need some help too.
Anyway, it wasn't. Hey, Trent. You know we got a job for you.
I'll coach you. But you hear the song I put? I don't put my Facebook and Instagram stuff ain't public to everybody, but you heard the song behind that.
I did.
Video. Johnny Cash. I hurt myself. I hurt myself today, and I was like, well, the guys were like all mad because they were trying to kick 40-yard field goals with the wind to their back, and I was like, come on, y'all, and I just went out there and ripped one from 38 yards, and it's like, hey, whatever.
Yeah. Could have worked a little bit on the form, but
the form was not good. It was. I'll be the first one to critique myself. It is not what is the old saying? Do as I say, do not do as I do.
But he was very proud, Mike. He was very proud.
Not as limber as he used to be.
I didn't have cleats on. I was wearing these pair of Hoka tennis shoes. Had 0 tread on the bottom. I'm just glad I didn't slip and bust my tail. Is what I was most worried about. Because it's like, I mean, they got cleats on. They're sitting there thumping it from 40 yards out, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm gonna slip."
It was good. It was good.
But yeah, but it's fun.
We'll get the producer to roll that at the very end of the video, man.
Yeah, I think we could find that and say, "Hey,
that'll be fine."
Here's the video that we spoke of.
Well, anyway, how I got involved in that was last season. A good friend of mine used to be the head coach at Rock Hill High, and he said, "Man, I just need somebody to come out and, help these guys, help these kickers. Just be down there with them, keep them involved, keep them working." And I was like, "Yeah, cool." I mean, I was a was a kicker in high school. I was a punter and kicker, part-time.
Really?
Yeah, part-time defensive end.
Almost 30 years ago.
Third string. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so
I think he meant middle school, not high school.
Bearcats, 1993. So I did that, So I said, "Yeah, man, I'd love to." And I went out there, and he goes, "Man, I can't pay you." I said, "That's fine. No problem." And then first day I walk in there, he goes, "Well, here's here's 2 polo shirts, here's some shorts, here's a T-shirt." I said, "Man, you just paid me in like $500 worth of swag. I'm in." It's like, don't worry about this. And so there was a coaching change, and I just the kids, the guys were texting me over the summer, or during the change. It's like, "Hey, coach, you going to coach again?" I was like, "Yeah, let me get in touch with the new coach." And Coach Birch, I texted him one day and said, "Hey, this is Trent. You don't know me, but I was, helped out with the kickers last year. I'd like to do it again." And he was like, "Love to have you." And then I just did it. And they're good kids. And there's some new guys who are out there for the in 10th grade, and one 11th grader and 2 seniors, and they're just having a good time. And when they can focus, Lord, if they can focus, they can thump it. I'm telling you, and get it, put it through the uprights and in an end zone for a touchback on kickoffs. It's just, I got to get them focused. So
that's cool. That's cool that you volunteer your time.
Go Bearcats!
There you go.
And again, there's a lot of public safety employees that do the same thing you do, stretched throughout this community.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think had we brought it up, he would have ever told us.
He wouldn't have. He wouldn't have.
Yeah, and that's the way most of them are. Yeah. The ones that are out there really involved with these young guys. They're making a difference while they're in the uniform and then outside of the uniform as well. So.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe how many people do that. We have a detective who coaches for Northwestern. Defensive line coach, the other one. So I mean, it's not. I give them a shout. I mean,
of course, that's actually where I went. It's a much better school, a long time.
And when I worked there, I coached a little at Northwestern, boys baseball.
We have one of the coaches, Tim Lee, wrestling coach. A lot of guys. I mean, I those are the only 2 that I could think of. David Beard at Northwestern, Tim Lee at Northwestern for wrestling, and I think
Melvin Billings, is he still doing anything?
I'm not sure.
I know he coached a little bit in Fort Mill.
Josh Yates coaches girls softball up at Catawba Ridge.
The list just goes.
And I sat here and thought about it for a while,
and it's awesome. Time. Yeah. And again, that's just some of what the public don't see.
The new sheriff, he actually pitches ball for the special needs baseball team.
That's right.
Sure does. That's right.
So it's just all the guys and girls that are out there doing these things. Again, we can't turn it off. We try, and honestly, that's how we're in this room together talking about all this stuff. Both of us are done.
I mean, one of my daughters dances, but I can't do that. Huh? I can't coach dancing, so why don't I just go coach do something else? I did help my daughter. I mean, I did coach my daughters in like church basketball and.
It's still, like I mean, even though your daughter's on the team, it's still you're giving back to the community for the other players are on there.
Yeah.
So and just like you mentioned, Tony, pitching for special needs, and honestly, I don't think you'll see a change. I think he'll still go out and I spoke to him the other day. He said he just got done PTing, So
only guy I know that still PTs on purpose.
Yeah, you're not gonna. I don't think you'll see a lot of change.
Speaking of that, I need to PT some more because I tried to kick that football today and I didn't warm up or nothing. And I was trying to punt it back to him, and I mean, it just felt like my lower back was like a whole bunch of rubber bands that just snapped all at one time.
It's called getting older, Trent.
I didn't warm up. I should have warmed up, stretched or something.
You're not going to be able to see it in the video, but he is currently using a heating pad on his back. I wasn't going to tell on you.
That's what's plugged into the wall over there is the heat pad.
I take multivitamins and vitamin I. You know what vitamin I is? Ibuprofen. A lot of it. Oh my gosh. But I enjoy it. I mean, like I said, when I first got out of the Navy, I thought I was going to be a teacher, thought I'd be a coach, and I don't know, just I like it. It's just one of those things where I told Bubba last season, I said, man, I know this is stressful for you guys, but right now it is a release for me. I love this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stressful for the guys who get paid to do it, and it's their job, but
that's right.
And they got to win every week, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, number one, but number two, the things that you're doing in the community, and especially with the sheriff's office, and I mean, getting the information out there that people really need.
Right.
You mentioned the goofy videos and stuff like that, and a lot of them have been played a lot of times at our house just to get a laugh.
I appreciate that.
But they're educational.
But they are a little work to put those together.
It gets to the point. Yeah.
But it's the videos are how people. I mean, who doesn't go home tonight and turn on Instagram and flick through Instagram reels every night. If I can get one person,
everybody in this room,
and I can go into statistics on how the analytics and how our engagement rates go with videos. So, I mean, some of them, if you could hook people for 3 seconds, you're most likely to get them for 15 seconds. And if you hook them for 15 seconds, you'll get them for the whole minute and a half Instagram reel. And if I can hook somebody for an Instagram reel for a whole minute and a half and tell them what they need to know, mission accomplished. If it has to do serious, it's serious. If I have to teach it in humor, humor is the way to go.
To catch that attention.
And it's just amazing how the engagement rates on videos, you'll see it starts out strong. You go, oh, I got them for 15. It just starts. The line just drops.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll watch more next time.
But you would believe we're going to do more live stuff. Last year we did the whole Ride with Yoko series where we're trying to do our own live PD thing, and that's a lot of work. And my dumb tail would always forget to turn off the Bluetooth in my car. I start running out there. Hey, we're out here doing this. We can't see you. We can't hear you. You're still hooked to your Bluetooth. Oh crap! So turn my Bluetooth off.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do more of that, I hope, in the future, because when we were out there for the storm for Debbie, we're just doing regular stuff. My fingers could not type fast enough to tell people, hey, there's a tree down here, there's flooding on this road, and I just said, forget this. I'm just going to get out and get in it. and go to where this flooding is. And I do enjoy doing that because you can get out there and show them, say, hey, this is flooding. Don't do this. And until a firefighter drives by and splashes you, there's video of that. Try to tell people, say, don't go down this road. It's a lot of standing water. You could hydroplane. Right?
Oh,
thanks.
By the way, don't do what he just did.
Yeah, don't do that. But you would watch the engagement rates of those live videos. People will watch a live video because it's thanks to live PD, or excuse me, on patrol, whatever they call it nowadays. People love to watch stuff right away and as it's happening. And thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, we have the ability to do that. And
but you're right, that is a lot of work.
yeah,
I mean, even if you had a crew where you can put them in multiple cars for the night, it is a lot of work.
well, and that goes back to when the earlier story is like, when I worked at Channel 3, WBTV, I was what they called a multimedia journalist. I didn't have a photographer. I was the photographer. It wasn't a photographer reporter combo. I did it all. I wrote, filmed, and edited all my stories. And so that helped me be able to have the skill set to do what I do today. And it goes back to this. I learned that, and even though it sucked at the time, I learned how to do it quick and on the fly so I could be able to do it today. So, and hopefully people are getting that. And I'm trying to do more videos. I mean, you'll see less and less just static pictures on the York County Sheriff's Office social media because videos are what people watch nowadays. It's amazing. I can go into the stats. I just don't have them in front of me. But more and more people are watching videos. And I think 97% of all Americans have a smartphone. 70,
I believe that.
70 some odd people get their news from social media. They don't, or wherever on a digital platform or something like that. So
I tried to get a job as delivering papers and realized that doesn't happen anymore since I'm going to be retired soon. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from on that. I even bought me a new bicycle and everything. I was ready to go.
Oh, the newspaper business.
You get the cards and the spokes and all that.
Oh, you know it, man. You know it. and Trent, anything that we, all of our stuff is pre-recorded right now. But if there's anything that we can push out for you, if you say, hey, man, can y'all push this for us? Tell us to look at this. And,
scams.
Yeah, I mean, and we will. We'll push that 100% for y'all.
Absolutely.
Anything we can do to help, we'll do it.
It's just wild how things change over the years. Remember back, we talked about car break-ins, and then we had, back when you were with the ACT team, where it's now like it went from ACT team to SOG, and now it's the crime suppression unit. But I remember you guys had that old Honda Civic. Remember that old Honda Civic you used to have?
The Honda Accord.
The gold one? Old busted one.
Yeah.
And you just rolled out there because people were targeting Honda Civics or Honda Accords.
Yeah.
Then it moved to F-150s. People were stealing F-150s. Yeah. And then it was like they moved to something else. And now it's like Chargers and Durangos and whatnot. I'm just wondering, what's the next flash car? Well, then they had the Kias before that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They were stealing Kias for whatever reason.
That poor Honda got stolen a bunch, didn't it?
Yeah. Trailers. I mean.
Yeah, I remember we had a trailer. Yeah.
It's,
we used to do all kinds of stuff like that, and it was just amazing how, just like when we do our trailer, and we had it loaded down with scrap, but it was scrap that said there is no way this is for real. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you had 15 to 20, catalytic converters on there, you had a stack of aluminum rims, and these people would pull over just because we had it parked on the side of the road, and they're like, oh yeah, man, really?
Man, catalytic, that's another thing.
Yeah.
The trends in crime, catalytic converters. Before that, it was like they were ripping out copper from AC units and home construction units. Yeah. And so right now it's the scams. It's whatever the flavor of the week is, and we have to educate people about it. So.
It's that fast money, whatever,
Mm-hmm. It's like the stock market. I think you and I talked about that one time.
We did. We
were sitting at ProStar one time because Chris and I used to sit next to each other at ProStar, and we were like the kids in the back of the room in school, like cutting up the whole time, joking on.
Should have been paying attention.
Exactly. We would sit there and joke around, and it's like, man. And we were, oh, we're having copper thefts over here, blah blah blah. And I think you went and looked it up on your phone. It's like, look, copper's like $2 and some odd cents for like a pound. And
yeah, it was something like that.
And then
yeah.
last week it was just $1. I can see why they want to steal copper.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good old days. Chris and I used to cut up. And
we had a good time.
meetings.
We had a real good time. So,
But anyway, yeah, this just whatever the flavor of the week is, man. So
And-
it would help us put that message out, and that's why I said it. Whenever I can do any kind of messaging, we get out there and do it.
well, you can reach out to me, Mike, or the producer over there, and
Who is that guy?
yeah, that's the producer.
It's, we should start calling him Oz.
Oh,
There you
that's a good
go.
one.
There you
Man
go.
behind the
Yeah,
curtain.
man behind the curtain. Yeah,
There you go. What's up, Oz?
He's telling his age again, ain't he? But yeah, you can shoot it, man. You can shoot us a text. You shoot us a phone call and say, "Hey guys, can y'all mention this at the beginning of the show, the end of your show, and we'll do it." I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and thank you for doing this podcast. But the sheriff's office also has a podcast. It's called YCSO Behind the Badge, and it's similar. It's like it's behind the badge, behind the curtain, or so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, trying to tell everybody. We had a representative from Crime Stoppers on this week, talking about the scams and how you can earn money by, you know, being snitches get stitches, you know, kind of thing. You know, I told him that I shouldn't have said that, but it's just like, you know, it's anonymous, but you know how you can get money using Crime Stoppers, that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that behind the badge.
Yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, you were like one of my first guests. I think we started. Here's the story. We started the podcast, and I was like, okay, cool. I got to line people up, and then I was lining all these people up, and then Chris comes up, hey man, Trent, I'm retiring, man. I'm gonna hang it up. I was like, whoa, when are you retiring? Yeah, it's gonna be like next week. I was like, no, come on, man. I was like, I gotta get you on the podcast.
He was like,
Chris.
shut the door for a minute. Let's talk.
Here, wear these headphones, and we're just going to chat.
No, he was wanting to talk me out of it. Let's talk for a minute. Hold on a minute.
Whoa, pump the brakes, Chris. What is? Nah, Trent, it's time, man. Chris is the only person I remember having you had that timer on your phone. Yeah. And at ProStar, he was like, Trent, look at this. I was like, what's that? It's like, that's how much time I got. And I thought it was just, you're just playing around. And then one day that timer hit 0.
Trent, I'm out of here, buddy.
No.
Hold on a minute.
And it was during COVID, too, because Donna had that party for you, one of the retirement, and we couldn't have it inside.
Nope, sure couldn't.
Because of COVID rules.
Donna and the producer's wife, they kind of threw the party for me.
Yeah,
Or Oz's wife, as we call him.
in the parking deck.
Yeah.
That's like, well, because of COVID.
But,
Thanks,
it
COVID.
was okay because they did allow us to do it.
Yeah.
But it just had to be outside, and it was okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it should have, it should have been something different, but later on. But it was all good. It's all good. And the sheriff's office still, they have those quarterly retirement get-togethers.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because you get to meet a lot of your older friends and stuff that you worked with, and that's fun. So
I tried to do a fun video last time. That failed
I
colossally.
thought we wasn't going to talk about stuff
I'm
like
just
that.
saying, but anyway, I tried to do it again. I was like, hey guys, so I couldn't do that video last time. So we're having this past Lions Den.
Yeah.
I said, okay, here's a camera. Go talk to it like you did before. And nothing. Nobody went up to it. Nobody.
Yeah. It was
Just trying to get retirees to
Trent
talk
had
about
a thing on there. If you could say anything to new deputies, what would you say? That's what it was.
Yeah, and just say it. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, just say it. And he was told, don't.
You can't do that. Not right now.
Yeah, not right now. So, but we're
okay.
not talking about that, okay?
We're not talking about it.
Yeah,
It's
so-
okay. It's okay.
But yeah, so again, anything that you would like to see us push out that would
Yeah.
help or educate the community, man, you get it to us, and we're here for you.
Yeah.
And we'd love to have you back as well. Anytime.
Anytime.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like
This
I
was
said,
fun.
It's
Yeah.
a platform to get messages out.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do anytime. Like I've gone on other podcasts. I think.
You're the only one we didn't have a battery of questions for.
Well,
I told me and Mike talking, so we're just gonna let Trent talk because he's
I kind of do this for a living.
That's why we didn't have a battery of questions.
So last week I was at the National Information Officers Association training down in Clearwater, Florida. It was awful. It was it's
That
just
sounds
awful.
terrible.
And terrible. It's Clearwater, beautiful blue skies, beautiful,
Just
clear
right
water,
outside of
and
Tampa,
just
you
right-
know.
I mean, it's just all, it's awful. But there was a portion of the training where Region 4 is made up of like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, just pretty much everywhere in the Southeast. So we had like 250 people in our region. So they
Wow.
broke us all up to do this little training exercise of how to do a joint information center for an incident. And so Kendra Loney, who's the PIO for like Tennessee Fire, Nashville Fire. And so I figured since she's the regional director, she would take over, be the leader. She goes, Trent, you're in charge of this. It's like 200, trying to be in charge of 250 type A personalities in a room. Are you kidding me? But I just got up there and just did it because I was like, whatever. This is what I do for a living. If you don't get up, if you're not, man enough or brave enough to do it,
to you.
huh?
That heating pad's getting to you, isn't it?
I'm claustrophobic.
Yeah, I can't even be in charge in a room with two people. I ain't saying no names, but she's not here. But
We all know that name.
Has she been on this yet?
no.
But
I can't even get her to ride over here. She
Well, it is
every
a long
time
way from where you live.
I invited her to ride over and just say,
I
hey,
was gonna say they got to stop and get lunch on the way here. So.
it was daytime when you got here, and now it's night.
yeah, I left the house about 4.
Yeah, that's right. And then the sun went down on the way here. You were chasing the sun away.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh! But yeah, but anytime. Look, if we want to do this, I'm fine. And I appreciate that the leadership at the sheriff's office allowed me to have I guess I don't know the word, but the openness to allow me to do things like this. And I'll speak to any community group. Jonathan Gilbert will speak to your group about things. Just email us and we'll do it.
Cool.
Just so we
Absolutely.
can get the message out there and inform the public about public safety issues.
And we'll throw some contact information up on there too. Not your personal.
Please not the phone.
Man,
It beeps and rings all night. You get a canine call in the middle of the night, and they have those new Garmin watch things. It's like, bling. I'm like, oh, I roll over like, oh crap. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Then I pull up the app and see what they're doing. And I was like, oh, okay.
Trent, when I left the office, I thought, yeah, man, cool. My phone is not gonna ring. It rings more now than when I worked there. It rang 4 times last night in the middle of the night.
it's just because they love you, man.
Yeah, somebody does. Somebody does.
Well, it used to be pretty hard with the job. We have this new app on the phone where we can check dispatch.
Yeah.
It's called Field Ops.
Yeah, that come right before I left.
Man, it is the greatest invention of all time because before that, I'd get a call on the weekend. I'll be out cutting grass. And I'm like, oh, dang, hold on. I got to stop the lawnmower. I get off the lawnmower. I'll be like, okay, let me call whomever. I call dispatch. Dispatch, who's the sergeant out on this or who's out there at whatever scene? And it's like, oh, it's so-and-so. I'm like, okay, and I was like, dang, I don't have so-and-so's phone number in my phone. And I call whoever. I say, do y'all have his cell phone number? Yeah. And now I have to call them. It was just a process to get the information and then call or email the reporter or whomever news outlet back on a Saturday when I'm just, trying to be at home and cut the grass. And now it's like, hey, we hearing that something's going on. There's a shooting over on X Street. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Nope, that's not what that is. And then you just, it's easy. It's like
Cool.
It's great. So,
Good deal.
and we try to push out as much information as we can through that. Like when Debbie rolled through, we try to inform people like, don't go this way, don't go through flood waters. Watch out, there's a tree down. And on the interstate the other night, thankfully I didn't have to go out there because Lieutenant Schifferly was like, hey, we got this flooding on the interstate right between exits 83 and 85. I'm like, flooding on the interstate? Yeah, it's flooding out here. Like all the drains clogged up and everything. So it really flooded the whole interstate out. Like, I think 20 cars were flooded out because of it, because it was just that much rain that quick. And so he sent me pictures. And so we put pictures out. It's like, okay, yeah, you're going to be pretty pissed on the road right now because if you're trying to head north on I-77, this is why. There's a picture of it. Sometimes we don't have pictures, but I've kind of, I don't want to call it trained, but I'm going to call it trained. Train the deputies. If there's ever, an incident where something's going to stop people from doing their daily life, they'll send me a picture of it, like a wreck or a tree in the road or something like that. And we'll put it out there as soon as we can.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate everything you're doing, man. I mean, it's just the information's getting out there in a very timely manner. And, I mean, all they got to do is follow the Sheriff's Department's Facebook page to keep up with you, right?
Yep, that's it. York County Sheriff. Make sure it's York County Sheriff, South Carolina.
There we go.
Yeah, not Pennsylvania.
Or Virginia, or Maine, or Nebraska. Yeah. It's South Carolina. I mean, you could see the badge on the profile picture to figure that out. But you wouldn't believe how many emails we get from Maine. I don't know what they got going on up there, but they don't like their law enforcement agency in York County, Maine. I'm just saying, because sometimes they get something and I'm like, oh, that's not us. And Pennsylvania had something one time. It was bad. I don't know. They arrested. It was a controversial arrest or something, and we were getting all their hate.
Getting hammered.
Yeah. All their trolls hit us up. I was like, that's not us.
Well, we thank you again, Trent.
Absolutely. And for those of you out there, just remember to like us on Facebook. You can also find us on our YouTube page. Like us and subscribe there. We greatly appreciate everybody's support so far. Just continue watching us, keep up with us, and I guess we'll see you guys from the front lines in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good.
Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you,
yes,
guys.
Sir.